Huwag ka mag-alala, Torre, kasi matagal ko na talaga gusto makabugbog ng unggoy.
You know, what I don't understand is that there seems to be billions of pesos budgeted for flood control projects. Taon-taon na lang po, bilyong-bilyong piso yun. Are they not being utilized properly? Is it just really going to the wrong hands? Is there so much corruption?
This is not an extraordinary situation anymore. Do not think of it as a special situation. This is the new normal.
Okay, ayan po yung maiinit na topic natin ngayon ha. Sinabi na po ni Bongbong Marcos na yung baha na yan, new normal na raw. Papayag ba kayo? Ha? Hindi ko maintindihan itong presidente natin ngayon ha. Sasabihin, can't you solve the problem of baha? Mr. Bongbong Marcos? Sasabihin mo lang yan, new normal na yan. Di na natin masusolusyonan yan. No, new normal na yan. My God, Bongbong Marcos. Di mo ba alam, maraming bata ang nagkakasakit dyan dahil sa baha na yan? Grabe ka. Okay, so ito pa, pag-usapan din natin itong si Baste Duterte, no? Mayor Baste ay may sinabi po siya ni Torre, no? Matagal na raw siyang hindi nakabugbog ng unggoy eh. Unggoy pala si Torre. Yan, ipapakita rin natin yan, no? At itong si veteran urban planner na si John Palafox ay in-interview nitong si Pinky Webb. Pinky Webb, o yan, pronounce, okay? In-interview, ito yung veteran urban planner na siya yung nakakita, no, sa mga nagdaang administrasyon at isisiwalat niya dito at i-explain niya na saan napunta itong mga sobrang laking flood control Grabe. Ito pero isa rin sa dahilan yan is hindi talaga maganda ang sistema ng Pilipinas. Every 6 years kasi tayo nagpalit-palit ng presidente. So meaning to say, hindi talaga matutuloy. Plus, yung presidente na very particular about corruption, yung panahon ni Tatay Digong, dating dito sa kay Bongbong Marcos, balik corruption na naman. Kasi he is not into, hindi niya, yung dating yung dating administrasyon, gumawa ng tinatawag nating PACC, no? Yung Anti-Corruption Commission. Pagdating dito kay Bongbong Marcos, binuwag niya yung Anti-Corruption Commission. Tingnan nyo. So, hindi po naipapatuloy yung programa na yun na yun sana ang reason na matatakot yung mga congressman, mga mayors na mag-corrupt because of that Philippine Anti-Corruption Commission. Di ba? Ito. Pag-usapan rin natin itong updates patungkol po sa kaso ni former President Duterte sa Dahig, ang latest interview ni Attorney Kaufman. Okay? So yun po ang mga pag-uusapan natin, pero bago ang lahat, help me po muna na i-like at saka i-share itong video na ito para guys kakalat ito sa taong bayan. Okay? Sabay-sabay muna tayong mag-like and share sa Donmar TV. Itong video na ito, like and share. 1, 2, 3, go! Okay, naka-like and share na ba lahat? And also guys, sa mga bago pa lang dito sa aking channel, mag-subscribe na po kayo para lagi kayong updated sa ating mga balita. And at the same time, yung mga cellphone ninyo, ma-notify yan kung meron tayong breaking news, bagong uploads, o kung nagla-live ang ating channel. Ma-notify kayo lahat dyan. Kaya mahalaga po na mag-subscribe tayo sa Donmar TV. 1, 2, 3, go! Ayan, nakasubscribe na ba lahat? Okay, so ayan guys, kapi-kapi muna tayo ha. It's a good combination ha. Manood kayo ng balita ngayon sa akin at nagkakape rin. Ayan, nilagyan ko kasi ng sugar yung kape ko eh. Okay, so unahin muna natin itong kay Basti Duterte. Ano ba ang sinabi ni Basti Duterte dito sa paghahanda ni Torre sa boxing match nilang dalawa? O eto, panoorin nyo. Pasok, Basti.
Huwag kang mag-alala, Torre, kasi matagal ko na talaga gusto makabugbog ng unggoy. Kung gusto mo lang talaga ng suntukan, bakit kailangan mo pa mga charity? Why do you need
Di ba? Actually, tama si Basti. Kasi, I can understand itong si Basti Duterte, ang galit niya, ang kanyang frustrations. Kasi hindi na nga siya nire-respeto bilang mayor ng Davao. Hindi na siya pinagbigyan kung sinong gusto niyang director, no? Yung chief PNP, yung PNP director dyan sa Davao. Kasi siya yung nakaalam kung ano yung mga ugali ng taga Davao. Siya yung nakaalam kung saang parte ng kanyang lugar ang dapat diinan ng seguridad through this PNP. Pero, anong ginawa kay Torre? Anong ginawa sa administrasyon na ito? No? Kinailangan nilang walang power itong si Baste. Okay? By inutusan nila ang mga kapulisan ng Davao na wag makinig dito kay Basti Duterte. Kaya galit siya. Tas nangyari pa doon sa KOJC. Wala silang respeto ni Basti doon eh. Nilusob nila ang KOJC na maraming violations ang nangyari. Tapos, ang kanyang tatay na si Basti Duterte, masakit yun para kay Basti na hinuli ng illegal itong si Tatay Digong. At sabi pa nga ni Basti, kinidnap yung tatay niya. At kitang-kita natin doon sa video na walang respeto itong si Torre sa dating presidenteng Duterte. Kaya galit na galit itong si Basti. Kaya, out of frustration, dahil sa galit niya, sinabi niya, suntukan na lang tayo kasi ikaw, matapang ka lang Torre dahil sa posisyon mo eh. Which is, ang point ni Basti doon, dahil sa posisyon ni Torre, naging matapang lang siya. Inabuso niya ang kanyang posisyon. Now, ang response ni Torre, sabi ni Torre, kung gusto mo ng suntukan, doon na lang tayo sa Coliseum, sa Araneta. Magpa-multa raw doon, magbabayad doon kung sino yung manood, kung sino yung mag-sponsor. Ang pera na malilikom nila doon sa event, ipupunta daw doon sa Baha na nasalanta ng mga biktima. E di sabi ni Basti, if you are serious about this, kasi po naghahamon, you give conditions. Siya wala siyang kondisyon eh. Gusto niya suntukan eh dahil sa galit eh. Kasi kung papatol itong si Basti Duterte sa event na yan ng Araneta Coliseum, ganyan, hindi yan pwede. Because I'm not here para magsuntukan tayo, para gumawa tayo ng charity. Nakukurnihan pa siya dyan. I'm here makipagsuntukan sa'yo dahil galit ako sa'yo. Dahil gusto ko mambugbog ng unggoy. Yan ang ibig niya sabihin. Okay? At isa pa, sabi ni Bas, kasi hindi po maganda eh. Magsuntukan kayo, tapos gagawa kayo ng charity para makatulong. Hindi maganda sa side ni Basti kasi galit siya sa iyo eh. Hindi naman sport ang gusto niya. Gusto niya suntukan talaga kasi kalaban ka niya eh. Isa pa, sabi ni Basti, kung seryoso ka dyan sa charity na yan, nagbigay ka ng kondisyon. O sige, magsuntukan tayo. Pero ito yung charity na gusto ko. So, gumawa rin ng kondisyon itong si Basti Duterte. Ang kondisyon niya, makipag-charity siya kasi gusto mo ng charity eh. Papayag siya dyan sa charity boxing nyo basta sabihin mo kay Bongbong Marcos na magpa-hair follicle test siya. Kaya mo yan. Matapang ka lang eh. Di ba? Ibig sabihin, at the end of the day, hindi man yan magpapa-hair follicle test si Bongbong Marcos kasi matatakot yan eh. Takot yan magpa-hair follicle test. Ewan ko kung what's his reason, bakit takot siyang magpa-hair follicle test. Baka siguro maubos yung buhok niya. Hindi ko lang alam kung anong reason niya ha. Takot siyang magpa-hair follicle test. So meaning to say, hindi talaga matutuloy itong charity boxing ninyo. Pero kung makipagsuntukan ka lang kay Basti Duterte na walang charity, matutuloy talaga yan. Di ba? Yun lang naman kasi itong si Torre, ipinamukha lamang ni Basti Duterte na mayabang itong si Torre. Okay? So, yun po ang reason dyan.
Kailangan mo pang gamitin yung nangyayari ngayon na baha dyan sa Metro Manila. If you're really serious about this, kung gusto mo yung charity na yan and you've laid some conditions, then let me lay my own conditions.
Correct.
For the event. Kung serious ka talaga ha, these are my conditions. Pakiusapan mo yung amo mo na presidente and let it come out of his mouth that all elected officials should undergo a hair follicle drug test.
Ang sabi, ito pala ha, let me correct my statement kanina. Pakiusapan mo, Torre, na galing sa bibig ni Bongbong Marcos, nasasabihin niya, lahat ng mga government officials is required to do hair follicle test. Hamon yan ha. Kung hindi kayo papayag dito, meaning to say, guilty kayong lahat. Guilty kayong lahat. Di ba?
Papalagan ko yung charity mo na yan.
Yung charity boxing na yan, papalagan yan. Sige, charity boxing tayo. Basta gawin mo rin yung condition ni Basti Duterte.
Wala problema. Kung if it will answer
Correct.
the issues nitong bansa natin,
Kasi issue yung gumagamit sila, di ba?
I can do that.
Di ba? Alam na namin, Basti Duterte, hindi yan sila papayag kasi takot yan sila magpa-hair follicle test. Ito yung pinakamasakit na sinabi ni Bongbong Marcos. Ang baha raw, new normal na raw. Diba? Itong taong to, wala talagang pagmamahal sa taong bayan. Buti ka kasi sumasakay ka lang ng mga magagarang sasakyan. Ang mga pobre nating mga kababayan, sasabihin mo lang, oy, magbaha lang kayo dyan. New normal na yan. Hindi ka ba naawa sa mga bata? Ito.
Nag-inspeksyon sa evacuation center at nabahagi ng tulong sa mga nasalanta si Pangulong Bongbong Marcos. Sa kabila niyan, ang ilang nagpoprotesta ipinwesto sa Baha ang sona ng Pangulo. Nasa
Grabe.
frontline ng balita yan si Gerard de la Peña.
Spotted si Pangulong Bongbong Marcos. Dito, at dito. Basta nasa Baha siya, nagsosona o State of the Nation address. Pero ang literal na lumulutang na Pangulo sa Baha, gawa lang sa cardboard. Paraan niya ng protesta ng Greenpeace Philippines. Bitbit ang banner na This is the State of the Nation at Make Climate Polluters Pay. Habang sinasabi ng gobyerno na tayo ay committed to climate justice, hinikayat ng Greenpeace ang administrasyon. Na una, suportahan ang Clima Bill. Pangalawa, itigil ang suporta sa fossil fuel expansion. At pangatlo, panagutin ng mga malalaking kumpanyang namiminsala sa klima. Si PBBM, bumisita naman sa San Mateo Evacuation Center. Namigay ng...
Diyan siya magaling, yung magbisita siya sa mga biktima. Ayuda, namimigay ng relief goods. Yan lang ang solusyon niya. Wala. Yung baha, mga tao dyan, yung baha, magbaha na kayo. Hanggat may buhay pa kayo, may baha pa rin. Basta presidente nyo, kaya magpalit na kayo ng presidente. If kung gusto nyo, walang baha, magpalit na kayo ng presidente. VP Sara can do the solution. Yan. Nangyari ba ito sa panahon ni Duterte? Wala. Diba? Kaya hindi kayo marunong maglinis dyan sa mga canals nyo. Diba? Oh. Baha. Sabi ni Bongbong Marcos, new normal.
Relief, kinumusta ang mga bakwit at nagpatawag ng briefing.
This is not an extraordinary situation anymore. Do not think of it as a special situation. This is the new normal. Ganito na talaga ang buhay natin kahit ano pang gawin natin.
Ganyan na ang buhay natin. Bongbong Marcos, sila lang, ganyan ang buhay nila. Pero ikaw hindi. Nakasakay ka ng magagarang sasakyan. Kawawa yan New normal? Wala kang gagawin dyan? Dahil ipa-new normal mo na? Grabe ka.
Shift in thinking that we have to think.
Kung ganito na raw ang magiging normal, baka panahon na rin para gawing normal ang mabilis at konkretong aksyon. Tuloy naman ang State of the Nation address na magiging simple lang daw sa gitna ng kalamidad. Nagbabalita mula sa frontline, Gerard de la Peña.
Grabe. Nakakahiya itong Pangulo na ito It's very obvious na wala ka talagang pagmamahal sa bayan na ito. Hindi mo masolusyonan ang baha na ito. Tama nga si Presidente Duterte. You are a weak leader. At tama naman si VP Sara. Hindi ka marunong. Alis ka na dyan, Marcos. Di ka talaga marunong Di ka talaga marunong. Eto, pakinggan natin itong veteran urban planner na si John Palpak. Ano ba talagang nangyari dito? Okay? Panoorin natin, pasok.
Bakit nga ba lagi na lang binabaha ang Metro Manila? Kasama natin ngayon sa studio ang veteran urban planner na si June Palpak. Sir June, maraming salamat po sa inyong oras. Diretso ng tanong, bakit ho ba talaga palaging binabaha ang Metro Manila?
If I may share, mid-70s pa, nandun na yung solutions. After the big floods of, I think, 1970-73. So there was a project called Metro Plan Manila. In Manila Bay Region Strategic Plan, Metro Plan Manila funded by the World Bank. I was a team leader and senior planner, project officer for the UNDP funded Manila Bay Region Strategic Plan. And I remember the conversation that time, with the do-nothing scenario, we'll have catastrophic flooding, traffic, garbage problem, all the problems we have now. We said that when I was 25 years old, I'm already 75 years old, natulungan ko na 40 countries.
So ano ho yung mga recommendation nung mid-70s na kahit papano sa palagay ninyo ay nagawa na ngayon?
Yeah. Maybe ang hindi nagawa muna. Dredging ng Laguna Lake at saka Parañaque Spillway. Kaya after Ondoy, I was in Dubai, tinawagan ako ni Jarjus Bondok. Some people were blaming God for the floods. And I said, it's not an act of God, but sin of omission and of men and women running our country. Because the solutions are there, hindi pa natutupad.
Correct.
Like,
Siya na mismo ang nagsabi dyan harap-harapan ang mga solusyon na yan. Nandyan yung solusyon. Pero, meron kasi tayong presidente bangag. Kaya hindi magawa-gawa. Generalize ko yung yung sitwasyon na yan
1,600 cubic meters per second bumagsak from floodwaters from the denuded mountains. And capacity of Pasig River, only 600 cubic meters per second. Saan pumunta yung 4,000 cubic meters per second? It flooded 90,000 hectares of urban land in Metro Manila and around Laguna Lake and Marikina Valley. You know what's 90,000 hectares of urban land? Malaki pa sa Singapore. Singapore is only 73,000 hectares. Paulit-ulit nasabi na natin yan. Hindi lang flooding, pati earthquake and so on. And all the presidents na sulatan ko na, pati si President Bongbong.
Ito nga, pinakita niya. Meron din kayo sulat
all the 145 recommendations.
PBBM,
and
May 23, 2022.
Yeah.
Okay.
May 23, 2022. And Executive Secretary
Lucas Bersamin.
he distributed...
pero kung si Bongbong Marcos ang sagutin mo dyan, wag na yan. New normal na ito. Di ba? Pero itong si June Palpak, meron siyang solusyon. Ganito sana ang presidente natin mag-isip. Kaso wala Gumib up na Ganyan na. Baha na kayo all the time. New normal na yan.
transmitted my letter to government agencies concerned.
Okay, pero yung simplified na sagot siguro, kapag kayo po ay tanungin ngayon, bakit ho ba palaging baha ang Metro Manila, Sir June?
One is urbanization, rapid urbanization. So we have to review even our subdivision code, building code, etc. And also our drainage system and flood control, 75% undersized, silted pa. Kasi yung design criteria, good for 25-year return of typhoons and floods. The 100-year typhoons now are happening every other year. So it's 75% undersized. Tapos yung subdivision code natin, even mountain communities, sellable, 70%. So wala halos open space. And the way we plan sa Palafox, from ridge to reef, from the top of the mountain, the highlands, the midlands, the lowlands, and the coastline. Dapat comprehensive kasi floodwaters doesn't respect political boundaries.
Meron ho bang top cause ng pagbaha? Sabihin po natin urbanization, poor urban planning, climate change, is it improper waste disposal? Would any one of those be the more prominent reason kaya po tayo nagbabaha? Or confluence of everything?
All of the above. Because even we always keep blaming people or it's really the lack of infrastructure and the plans were put in place
Paano? Walang infrastructure na gawa. Ay, nako.
1974, to be exact. Like, they did the Mangahan Floodway, USAID funded project, to divert floodwaters to protect Metro Manila. But they did not do the spillway. That's why I said that time, Laguna Lake is like a toilet without a flush. Hindi makalabas yung tubig. And paulit-ulit nasasabi ko na yan. In terms of the media, there's awareness na. But as we said in 1976, with the do-nothing scenario, we'll have catastrophic flooding, traffic, all the urban ills happening now. It was, not predicted it, we saw it coming with the do-nothing scenario.
Yeah. What should be done now, in the short term? What are the doables now?
Yeah, we have here in the book, immediate action program, short-term, medium-term, long-term, and visionary. That's why after Ondoy, I propose a 10-year program that I even said if there are objections to the spillway, if it is an open canal, we can do a smart tunnel. They did it in Kuala Lumpur. Like a tunnel connecting Laguna Lake and Manila Bay. The top could be a roadway, second roadway, the lowest will be the spillway. And during the worst floods, the whole tunnel can be spillway. I proposed that right after Ondoy.
Saan po lalabas yung tunnel na yon, yung spillway na yon?
Manila Bay. And we had detailed conversation with President Gloria that time. And he approved most of our 60 recommendations. The 60 is now 145 recommendations. With do nothing or do minimum happening right now.
Are you saying that during the time of GMA, natuloy po yung 60 out of the 140 plus recommendations?
In-approve niya pero hindi natuloy.
Ayun na nga po.
Succeeding administration.
Pwede pong approve pero hindi naman.
Natuloy. Like yung dredging ng Laguna Lake, may kontrata na with the Belgian contractors. Kinancel.
Hindi natuloy kasi si Pinoy yung si Pinoy yung sumunod. Si Pinoy. Tingnan niyo yung Yolanda, anong ginawa niya?
In fact, Philippine government was sued by the Belgians. They won the case against the Philippines. And former Secretary of Finance, Sonny Dominguez, told me, we paid more than 1 billion pesos. Samantala, hindi pa nadredredge yung Laguna Lake.
Kanino pong kasalanan yun? Because during the time of Secretary Sonny, that was the time of
Duterte
PRRD.
already.
Opo,
So,
PRRD.
succeeding administrations after GMA, hindi na nasunod yung in-approve. Hindi na
So
nasunod.
nagkakaproblema din po tayo, Sir June, dahil sa pagpalit ng administrasyon. For example, are there recommendations? Ano ho ba ang short term? Ang short term ho ba kaya ng 4 na taon? Kasi by the time po gawin nila yon, nasa mid-year
Kaya
na
po.
siguro sila doon ng kanilang
first
termino.
100 days starting today. The best time to have done here, this was mid-70s. Maybe second best time was Ondoy. Maybe this is the third best time. Even the president talked about the spillway in his campaign. the spillway, and he even quoted me
Okay.
that the spillway is needed, whether it's spillway or smart tunnel, it should be done now.
What I don't understand is that there seems to be billions of pesos budgeted for flood control projects. Taon-taon na lang po, bilyong-bilyong piso yun. Are they not being utilized properly? Is it just really going to the wrong hands? Is there so much corruption? Ganun ho ba yun? How would you would be able to explain that? Because
So much corruption. Yun na yung sagot mo, Pinky Webb.
siguro po, you would know the numbers. Do you question
Yeah.
where the money goes?
Mayor Magalong of Baguio said on record, corruption and infrastructure is as high as 70%.
Grabe.
And I've spoken to some contractors, they're asked to down specs. So let's say you give 40% to the corrupt bureaucrat or politician. Where did you reduce the 40% from the specifications?
Grabe.
Special flood control and so on. And all our infrastructure. And if 40 to 70% goes to corruption, we'll have worse problems coming to us.
But can that still be accounted for? Pwede pa hubang silipin yan? Para lang po, once and for all, matigil na yan at kung ano ho talaga yung dapat sa flood control projects ay mapunta doon.
Yes, ma'am. In fact, when I wrote this book, Towards Resilient Cities and Communities, which I got the Best Author Award, it's 90% less expensive to address the hazards before they become disasters, aside from saving human lives, buildings, infrastructure, and agriculture. And I asked, how come walang pork barrel sa prevention? And sinagot sa akin, Palafox, you were not born yesterday. State of calamity, wala nang bidding-bidding. Mas malaking kikitain sa rehabilitation.
Grabe.
And you might want to fact-check that one because that was the answer given to me.
Maybe it's time that, somebody really
Dumarami kasi ang mga buwaya ngayon eh.
looked into the projects that were undertaken, how much was allotted, and siguro really get experts if the specifications were actually completed as planned.
Yes, ma'am, including the bidding process, the building permits and all of that. I think it should be very transparent. Even the bidding process, maybe it should be televised.
Right.
And we should know who are winning the bids. There were
And
many,
how much that
Yes,
bid
ma'am.
was, yeah.
There are many instances that we were 15 million pesos lower and we did not qualify.
Okay. What about reclamation? Are there good reclamations, Sir June, and are there bad reclamations? Or are reclamations in general just not good?
1976, the Metro Plan, we commented no further reclamation until a comprehensive study of Manila Bay is done. So 1975-76. Then when I was named hired to help plan Dubai, one of my projects was reclamation. If you do it right, proper planning, proper engineering, and so on, it's good. That's why I begged off from doing reclamation project in Manila Bay, accepted only one because it's not reclamation, it's land recovery. Yung largest airport by San Miguel Corporation. Accepted that because due diligence was done, it's not reclamation, those are titled fish ponds. And
So we're talking about Bulacan?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's land recovery, it's not land reclamation. Then around Laguna Lake used to be maybe 70,000 or 60,000 hectares. Because of siltation, it flooded the surrounding. So you can do the circuit for Dubai Creek. We narrowed down Dubai Creek. We made it navigable. And the land recovery, I called it, not reclamation. We created very beautiful waterfront development. And many countries now doing reclamation because we are, I think 70% of our community cities are coastline. So some countries now with a high sea level rise are doing reclamation to replace the lost one. But they do it very well.
Okay.
The impact on
Okay.
flooding and so on, and also as wave breakers. With the big wave, tsunami, they should break it and
All right.
protect the mainland. So if done properly, engineered properly, planned properly, implement properly,
It's okay.
I'm okay with reclamation.
Just a quick question, just a follow-up. What about the Dolomite Beach?
Dolomite, in fact, conceptually it's good, but because there are no open spaces like in Tondo, you see the people going there, poor people, but it may not have been done right. I don't know if they did coastal engineering and the impact of when you reclaim attached to the mainland, you increase the watershed. That's why reclamations like in Dubai are islands. So the reclamation attached to the mainland, it's a big concern. And all this reclamation, we should allow the fisher folks to navigate around and also consider the cruise ships in the future. How will they navigate Puerto Manila?
Maraming salamat po. Veteran urban planner.
Ayan ha, the answer. Hindi binanggit na kasalanan ng Dolomite Beach na yan dahil nagbaha ang Maynila, di ba? So the way ko i-analyze yung sinabi niya is at the end of the day, it all boils down to corruption. Bongbong Marcos, if you're serious enough na i-eradicate itong corruption, wala sanang baha ngayon eh. Punta tayo dito. Kaufman, Attorney Kaufman, updates patungkol po sa kaso ni Tatay Digong. Ito, pasok.
Attorney Kaufman, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you today?
I'm well, thank you very much.
How is our former President Rodrigo Duterte?
Well, as I've said, he's always in good spirits, but he's 80 years old and he's tired.
Attorney, in your motion to defer adjudication on the urgent request for interim release, you cited several delays and roadblocks. Could you elaborate on the nature of these obstacles? Or are they primarily procedural, diplomatic, or a combination of both?
Well, unfortunately, I'm not entitled to elaborate further. The matter is subject to confidentiality, as you would have seen from the filings on the ICC website. A number of parts of that filing are redacted, and they're redacted for a reason, to protect certain interests.
Attorney, what are the specific delays, whether it is procedural, evidentiary, or logistical, that you believe justify a reassessment of the current schedule for the confirmation of charges?
Well, I want to make it clear, at the present moment in time, the defence hasn't asked to postpone the confirmation of charges hearing. The nature of the delays and the obstacles are confidential, but they are the information that we haven't received, because that's basically the substance of our application is, in our opinion, crucial for determining an issue which could potentially bar the holding of the confirmation of charges hearing.
Because, Attorney, there is a concern that the pre-trial chamber may interpret this delay as a tactic, stalling measure rather than a legitimate legal need. How do you respond to that?
Well, the pre-trial chamber know exactly what we've argued, and the pre-trial chamber will understand that we're not deliberately stalling. I don't deliberately stall anything. I do what I believe is the best thing to do for the interests of my client.
Okay. How about the Rule 121 of the ICC Rules of Procedures and Evidence, indicating it clearly that ensuring the efficiency of proceedings, in your view, has the Office of the Prosecutor failed to uphold any part of that obligation in this case?
Well, I'm the last person who would normally hand out awards to the prosecution, but to their credit, they have actually met their disclosure requirements as expected in this case. It's not been the case in other situations before the court, but ironically in this case they have met their disclosure obligations. What I can say that we've been disclosed a huge amount of information, and that will take time to assimilate and to learn.
Attorney, on another note, 3 Philippine senators have called on the Senate to urge the government to formally petition the International Criminal Court for the interim release of the former president, proposing a house arrest arrangement in The Hague. Legally speaking, how likely is the ICC to consider such an appeal under any circumstances, if any? Could this influence the court's discretion in granting interim release under the Rome Statute?
I think such an initiative on behalf of the senators is to be welcomed, because it basically expresses the will of the people. However, the judges rule on evidence and rule on risk factors. So whatever these senators say, and I welcome it. I really do welcome it, and I thank them for it. Regardless, the judges have a set of rules which they use to decide whether or not an individual should be released or not.
Attorney Kaufman, is your legal team actively considering the options reportedly raised by Attorney Harry Roque to file a separate civil action under Dutch domestic law challenging the legality of Mr. Duterte's or President Duterte's arrest and detention?
Perhaps you could enlighten me. Where is Harry Roque proposing to file this?
Under Dutch law? Under Dutch legal.
And what's the nature of this? Has he mentioned it in the media?
No, not yet. Because it was proposed that a separate legal remedy filed under Dutch laws could be a possible option. Are you actively proposing the same?
Well, this is not the first time I've heard such a crazy scheme. I would put it that way, because at the end of the day, the Netherlands have to be involved in any request to release an individual from the court, because in order to go to a target country or a country where the person has selected to be the place for him to be under house arrest, should obviously the pre-trial chamber agree, he would have to pass through the Netherlands territory. So to initiate a case in the Netherlands against the Netherlands would be a big mistake.
Aside from the recent efforts filed before the ICC, such as the petitions for disqualification of certain judges and the request for interim release, what other legal avenues or procedural steps are you currently exploring to strengthen the case and secure the eventual return of the former president?
Well, there is a petition before the court for interim release. As you might know from a decision given by the judges yesterday, the decision on interim release will be postponed temporarily in order to allow us to present further crucial information to the pre-trial chamber.
On that note, Attorney, congratulations on the grant of your defense request to defer adjudication of the urgent motion for interim release. Ideally, is this motion expected to be adjudicated prior to the set confirmation of charges?
I hope so, but it's all tied up with the issue of information that we haven't received, delays, which are not attributable to the defense.
What is the legal significance or advantage of granting the deferment of the adjudication of the urgent motion for interim release?
And I said we want to have all the information necessary to promote a claim for interim release. We still require crucial information which is available and can be made available, but because of various obstacles and delays, we haven't received it. I'm not entitled to elaborate any further on the matter.
Thank you, Attorney. If the interim release is granted, will former President Duterte be placed under arrest only during the pre-trial phase, or will it continue throughout the entire trial if the charges are confirmed?
One would hope that it will continue throughout the whole trial if charges are confirmed, obviously.
Attorney, according to the report, the ICC has disclosed 1,253 items of evidence related to alleged crimes against humanity involving the former president. Have you had the opportunity to review these materials in full? If so, what is your legal assessment or overall impression of the strength and credibility of the body of evidence?
Well, you talk about 1,000 or so items that have been disclosed. However, each one of those items sometimes contain up to 100 or even 200 pages. So it's an immense amount of information. It's disclosed electronically. And we have means and methods using the court's information technology systems to analyze that evidence, to perform keyword searches, to focus in on aspects of the case that interest us for promoting the former president's defense. I'm not going to comment on the strengths and the weaknesses. I'm not allowed to. However, we are busy learning that evidence. We have a short amount of time to do it. We have a fair idea what we want to argue at confirmation, but once again, that's strategy, which I shan't be disclosing in a media interview.
Yes. Do you believe political motivations, either locally or in the Philippines or within the ICC itself, are influencing the pace or direction of the proceedings?
Well, once again, I don't get into politics. That's not my job to start making pronouncements. I've said my views in the past regarding the political motivation behind former President Duterte's current presence in The Hague. But beyond that, I'm not going to comment.
How do you respond to Vice President Inday Sara Duterte's claim that President Marcos Jr. is working with the ICC to remove her father from politics and to keep the ICC relevant?
I'm not going to comment on Vice President's comments to the media. However, what I can say is that no investigations can be carried out in the Philippines without the approval of the Philippines government. Otherwise, it would be a breach of sovereignty. It depends which way you look at it. And once again,
Kitang-kita mo dito na very careful siya sa mga issue sa politika, no?
the former president was brought here because supposedly the President Marcos, said that he was complying with Interpol. He wasn't complying with Interpol. He was complying with an ICC arrest warrant.
Di ba? Marami pang palusot itong administrasyong Marcos, sasabihin pa nilang hindi kami nakipagtulungan sa ICC. Siya na mismo nagsabi, si Attorney Kaufman. You are entertaining the ICC arrest warrant.
So that is cooperation with the court to which the Philippines is no longer a member.
Are you
Kaya
saying
sabi ko sa inyo, itong si Bongbong Marcos, kapag hindi na ito patapos ang kanyang termino, nakabidbin po ang kanyang mga kaso.
that the Philippines, through these actions, are saying that we are not a sovereign country anymore?
No, I didn't say that. You can't carry out investigative procedures in another country without the approval of that country. Otherwise, it would be deemed a breach of sovereignty.
Is this action can also be characterized as not believing on our local judiciary?
Well, there's been all sorts of claims made by the current administration. They claim
Ayon kay siguro sa isip ni Kaufman, yung presidente natin, bangag na talaga kasi bakit kailangan pa natin ng ICC? Wala talaga siyang, wala tayong tiwala siguro sa ating batas. Ayaw lang sabihin ni Kaufman
that there's no evidence left because it was all destroyed, and they claim falsely and without any foundation whatsoever that former President Duterte is possibly responsible for the destruction of that evidence. So that's why they argue that he can only be tried here. They've given a number of claims. All the time they're obfuscating the reason for him being transferred to The Hague. What I can say is that the correct place for him to be tried, given our jurisdictional arguments, is in the Philippines. He asked for a Filipino judge, he asked for a Filipino prosecutor, and he said, if I'm found guilty, I will sit in a Filipino prison.
Attorney Kaufman, can I just
Yes, go ahead.
Are you hopeful that it will be dismissed on lack of jurisdiction when Philippine government kidnap PRRD and have him to ICC and Philippine government cooperating on witnesses which vindicate the Philippine government recognizing the jurisdiction of the ICC?
Well, that's a bit of a long question, but once again, our jurisdictional arguments are before the court, and the court will give its decision in due course. Whether it gives it before or after the confirmation hearing or during the confirmation hearing, I don't know.
So I think question na lahat, no? Palit-ulit na lang. So yun nga, no? We should trust Kaufman. Ginagawa niya ang lahat. According to the question ni Alvin, ano pa yung mga ini-explore mo na mga bagay na mapalakas ang kaso ni Tatay Digong, di ba? Sabi ni Kaufman, meron tayong mga ginagawang ganyan, pero hindi ko pwedeng sabihin sa in public kasi strategy yan Okay, so yun lang. Very delicate po itong kaso ni Tatay Digong na hindi lahat ng mga bagay about the case are shared in public. Okay, so yun lang po, sabi ni Kaufman na he's in good spirit itong si Tatay Digong. Okay, so sa narinig nyo sa interview ni Kaufman, mag-comment, mag-react kayo at usap-usap tayo sa comment section. Ano ang opinion nyo sa case na ito? no? At i-share nyo dyan sa comment section. Okay? So, paki-like at saka paki-share itong video na ito ha, para kakalat ito sa taong bayan. And sa mga bago pa lang dito sa aking channel, subscribe na kasi libre lang ang mag-subscribe guys. Okay? Para updated kayo. See you in my next video. Have a great day. Have a great night. God bless po sa ating lahat. Mabuhay ang Pilipinas and God save the Philippines.